names of those involved in a fatal Jefferson City stabbing. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jem Reek.
And I'm Brittany Pieper. That stabbing happened around 7 p.m. and left many residents of the building uneasy. KOMU8's Melissa Zigowitz is live in the capital city to tell us who was involved.
Jim and Brittany, Jefferson City Police identified 46-year-old Michael Taylor of Jefferson City as the male who died from stab wounds overnight at an area hospital. Now, 52-year-old Michael Phillips was taken into custody for questioning and is currently being held at the Cole County Jail. Now, I also spoke with residents here who live at this apartment complex where this took place, and they said this news is extremely unsettling.
It's not secure here. And it's scary to live here. I was so scared I didn't hardly come out of my house.
Cynthia Cushman moved out of the Dual and Hamilton Towers a year ago, but still comes around to visit friends who live in the building.
I fear for the people that live here now, because if it's going to happen once, it can happen again.
Jefferson City Police learned last night the victim and the suspect were at the apartment complex to visit people they knew.
Somehow, sometime during their evening, they got into some sort of a altercation between the two of them, which eventually resulted in the suspect allegedly stabbing the victim.
Current residents say there is poor security at the apartments despite unusual behavior happening every day.
All kinds of stuff over here. Sometimes the K9 be over here just going door to door, you know, checking some stuff out.
As for Cushman, she is happy to have left when she did.
I called my mom and she said, I'm blessed that you're out of there, because that place is no good. It's horrible over here. It's not fit for people to live here if they can't get better security.
Spoke with residents who did not want to speak on camera, and they say they agree security needs to be updated during all hours of the day in order to feel safer. Now, Jefferson City Police are recommending Phillips be charged with armed criminal action and second-degree murder. Reporting live from Jefferson City, Melissa Zigowitz, KOMU8 News.
When looking at a college course catalog online, you'll find a brief description but not a complete syllabus. One House representative wants to change that. KOMU8's Emma Reckenberg joins us with details on today's public hearing on House Bill 814.
This syllabus, like many syllabi given to students on the first day of class, has 3 bolded words on top, subject to change. And while the words are common, the Curriculum Transparency Act aims to change that uncertainty. The bill debated in today's hearing would require public colleges and universities to post course syllabi, reading lists, extra credit opportunities, and project descriptions online. Bill sponsor Representative Jason Chipman told KOMU8 News the requirement would inform the public about what education tax dollars are funding. He also said it would provide students and parents and universities a more accurate view of what material would be covered in class. One opponent says this requirement would restrict creativity and subject matter throughout the semester.
It really inhibits the flexibility that faculty have to keep the content of their courses current, up to date. You know, that could be in public affairs, it could be in science, it could be in medicine.
Is currently awaiting further action by the higher education chair. The spokesperson for the UM system has no comment on the pending legislation at this time. In the studio, Emma Reckenberg, KOMU8 News.
When it comes to disposing of electronic waste, we can pick between a recycling plant or a trip to the curb. The most favorite choice might surprise you. KOMU8's Chris Joseph is live from the KOMU basement to tell us which choice is not very good for the environment.
Old electronics like this get tossed in Columbia's landfills every day. It's the chemicals they're made out of that damage our environment. Old computers contain mercury, arsenic, and lead, all of which can leach into the ground and pollute our water supply. Columbia estimates electronics make up 2% of landfills, but officials say the issue is getting worse. The Columbia Computer Center will pick up and recycle your electronics for free.
The problem is a lot of people put on the curb. You know, I have a lot of guys who work for the Columbia trash pickup who they'll find towers on the curb that people are just trying to throw away.
The City of Columbia website has a list of places where electronics can be recycled safely. Live from the basement, Chris Joseph, KOMU8 News.
Reaction is still pouring out today after President Trump's first address to Congress last night. The president took a softer tone than we're used to hearing from him.
He focused on domestic and international topics. His address left both Democrats and Republicans wondering, will his words be put to action?
A president who says one thing, but in reality just does another.
Americans weren't the only ones tuning in last night. A commentary from the BBC called the speech unconventionally conventional. The former president of Mexico tweeted Trump should build a wall around himself. And a spokesman for Vladimir Putin said Russia was not upset it wasn't mentioned in the speech.
Here's what's happening right now. The deadly storm system that left destruction across several states the past few days is still headed east at this hour, about 95 million people in its path. Damage has already been reported in Tennessee, Indiana, and Ohio.
As far as last night, high winds ripped through several Midwestern states, including Missouri. The system left widespread destruction and at least 3 people dead, 2 in Illinois, 1 in Missouri. NBC's Chris Clackham reports.
Strong straight-line winds tore through Middle Tennessee Wednesday, toppling trees, utility poles, and other structures near Nashville in a line of storms that still stretch from the deep south into the Midwest.
Yeah, it was the scariest experience that I've ever been through. Never want to do it again.
The system moves into the southeast after lighting up the night sky, knocking out power, and raking several states with nearly 24 tornadoes Tuesday.
Look at that!
Hundreds of homes were leveled, hitting the Illinois towns of Ottawa and Naplate the hardest.
To see the streets the way they look this morning versus the way they looked yesterday morning, yeah, it's emotion.
Illinois' governor surveyed the damage himself Wednesday, comforting victims, some of whom lost everything.
The Naplate's been devastated. So many homes completely lost.
This is just heartbreaking.
Also devastated, part of Perry County, Missouri, where one of 22 twisters touched down.
Truck started shaking. Ran to the door. Couldn't get the door open. The wind was blowing too hard.
And so like the month of March, to blow in like a lion, but hopefully leave like a lamb. Chris Clackham, NBC News.
We were much drier out there today after the rain and hailstorm last night. Let's send it over to Tori to see what the rest of the week looks like. Columbia Water and Light is in the process of finalizing expansion plans to meet the needs of a growing Columbia. As part of the process, the city will increase water monitoring tests to gather the latest data. According to Columbia Water and Light, the water meets all EPA standards. The cost of the equipment necessary to expand would be around $18 million. The Water and Light District says this is just an estimate, but nothing has been decided yet.
President Trump issued an executive order to review and potentially repeal the Waters of the U.S. rule. KOMUH Jared Kohler joins us to tell us what it means for Missourians.
When the Obama administration implemented the Waters of the U.S. rule in 2015, the intention was to broadly define all natural bodies of water that are under the federal government. This angered many farmers, leading to the elimination of the rule. Now, the rule is defined and protected significantly more tributaries and streams feeding into rivers to better protect drinking water and limit pollution. The rule is an expansion of the 1972 Clean Water Act, which left major bodies of water under federal protection. But Missouri Farm Bureau Director of Regulatory Affairs, Leslie Holloway, said the rule limited farmer freedoms on day-to-day tasks.
The idea that anything like that might require a permit would certainly not only add cost to what a farmer might be doing on a daily basis, but also a time delay, because you don't know how long it could take to get a permit. So it really would be terribly burdensome regulation.
However, opponents like Heather Navarro of the Missouri Coalition for the Environment argue that the rule ensured Missouri had safe, sustainable drinking water and that, quote, now we're back to square one. All it does is put our water under threat. If we get rid of all these regulations, people will be wearing gas masks. Now, the rule does not change who's in charge of Missouri waters, as the EPA still enforces the Clean Water Act, while the Department of Natural Resources issues the permits and writes water quality standards. In the studio, Jared Kohler, KOMU 8 News.
Coming up, a police chase straight out of Hollywood, and it didn't have a very good ending.
Plus, corruption in the Baltimore police force, how a year-long investigation ended with 7 police officers indicted.
And you're taking a look at the Columbia Regional Airport on this Wednesday afternoon. It's 5:10. This is KOMU 8 News, first at 5. Coverage you can count on.
First week of March.
Yeah, weekend looks very good.
It's going to be beautiful.
All right, Tori, thanks. Coming up, 7 Baltimore police officers indicted on charges.
What the FBI and DEA found.
7 Baltimore police officers have been arrested and indicted on federal charges today. They're accused of racketeering, robbing victims, filing false affidavits, and making fraudulent overtime claims. Some of the officers were members of an elite police unit focusing on removing guns from city streets. This comes after a Department of Justice report saying there's widespread systematic violations and excessive force in Baltimore.
These 7 police officers acted disgracefully. They betrayed the trust that we have and we're trying to build upon with our community at a very sensitive time in our city's history.
The year-long investigation involved the FBI, DEA, and the Baltimore Police Department. A scene straight out of Hollywood today in Louisiana. An inmate at a prison work release program stole a pickup truck and led deputies on a high-speed chase, and you can see it doesn't end very well. He hit spike strips, causing him to go off the road and lose control. The truck ended up on its roof. He is back in jail.
Dogs are close companions.
Right, and now they're keeping families away from the hospital.
Dogs are known to be trained to help people through many struggles, from blindness all the way to grief. Now, a company called BioScent Canines is training dogs to help type 1 diabetics manage their blood sugar. The practice is proving to be especially beneficial for kids and families.
The ultimate goal is for them at night that their parents might be able to sleep a little bit easier, knowing that that dog's going to alert and wake them up if those sugars drop and for some reason the sensor fails.
The dogs are trained to alert their handler when their blood sugar gets too low so they can avoid trips to the hospital once their sensors go off. Often the focus is on moms struggling with depression during and after pregnancy, but new research shows it's not uncommon for dads to suffer too. A 2015 study published in the American Journal of Men's Health shows more than 13% of first-time dads had a depressive symptom during the 3rd trimester. In families where both parents are struggling, doctors say getting enough sleep before and after the baby is born is most helpful for symptoms.
A special kind of drive-through today in Florida. No burgers, no fries, but something else.
We now know the names of those involved in last night's stabbing in Jefferson City. KOMU 8's Melissa Zigowitz is live to tell us who was involved.
Jim and Brittany, Jefferson City Police identified 46-year-old Michael Taylor as the victim who died from stab wounds at an area hospital last night. Now, they also identified Michael Phillips, 52-year-old Michael Phillips, as the victim who stabbed Taylor. The stabbing happened around 7 p.m. at the Dual and Hamilton apartment complex right behind me over here. Now, police are recommending Phillips be charged with armed criminal action and second-degree murder. Reporting live in Jefferson City, Melissa Zigowitz, KOMU 8 News.
Here's what we're following for KOMU 8 News at 6. A new Senate vote. Missouri's LGBTQ community will not be protected by discrimination laws.
And KOMU 8 talks with Columbia's Jewish community about the recent streak of violence.
Today is Ash Wednesday, which is the start of Lent for Christians, but some people have really busy schedules that didn't allow them to attend a traditional service to be blessed with ashes. So one pastor in Florida gave a drive-through alternative. He says it's no shortcut of faith, just another avenue.
All right, we're heading into another very breezy Wednesday evening. They'll continue out of the northwest anywhere from about 15 to 20 miles per hour, also leading into a much, much cooler evening as well. We'll see overnight lows quickly dropping to about 30 degrees. We're going to be feeling more like the 20s.
On air.